Okay. All right, I'd like to call to order the November 26, 2018 meeting of the West Windsor Township Council. Have we been adequately noticed?
Yes, we were adequately noticed on January 5th, 2018, to the Times and the Princeton Packet.
Would everyone please join us to the salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a ceremonial matter. We have the 2018 Communities of Light presentation to Women's Space. And there is a proclamation which I will summarize rather than read all of. Whereas it is the policy of West Windsor Township to recognize organizations that have contributed to the overall benefit of the community, and in this case the greater community, not just West Windsor. Whereas Woman's Space, founded in 1977, has demonstrated a unique ability to provide comfort, support services, crisis intervention, and safety to women who are victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And whereas Women's Space, in the belief that peace begins at home, has asked the Mercer County community to join them in their struggle against violence toward women by participating in their annual Communities of Light project. And West Windsor Township commends Women's Space for their efforts to bring an end to the cycle of interpersonal violence imposed on women, children, and men. And whereas Mayor Hemant Marape and the members of the Township Council urge that each and every household demonstrate their support of the concept that peace begins at home by placing luminaries along their driveways and sidewalks on Monday, December 3rd, 2018, as a visible symbol of that support. And the proceeds from Communities of Light 2018 will be used to fund vital services for victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Marape and the Council of West Windsor hereby proclaim December 3rd, 2018 as Communities of Light Day, and hereby honor Woman's Space on its many accomplishments and wish them continued success with Communities of Light in the years to come. So, may I present you with this proclamation? Shall I?
Trying to get around the side here. No, actually, it's fantastic, guys. It's tall enough. It's tall enough.
So we're now up to public comment. That's not on my, you added it. Okay, so I thought that would be the beginning of public comment. So we have a presentation on recycling. So let's listen to that now.
Yeah, Lori Gable is our administrative assistant over in the Department of Public Works. She's also our certified recycling coordinator, and She's been in the role for almost 3 years. She's done an admirable job. She's been to the schools and various community organizations, and I know that in light of the 40% increase in our recycling contract costs, council had asked for a presentation on recycling, and Lori is with us tonight. Welcome, Lori.
Hi, thank you very much. As Marlena said, I'm Lori Gable. I work over in Public Works. I am the administrative assistant over there for Alex Drummond. I went to school in 2017 and became the certified recycling professional, as well as the Clean Communities Coordinator for West Windsor Township. Basically, that authorizes me to file the strict guidelines and apply for the grants for West Windsor Township. So what I've chosen to do with a lot of the grant money is educate the public. Recycling is something that is very important. It's the law. It's not an option. And I'm really trying to get myself out there and be visible and really empower the residents. I recently just created this pamphlet. Recycling is a little challenging because there are some gray areas, and the rules and regulations are constantly changing. As you all know, as Marlena just mentioned, there's about a 40% increase in the cost of recycling due to the fact that China is really cracking down, and they are the ones that take the recycling. So this pamphlet just went out very recently to our homeowners, along with the stormwater drain rules. We also had a brush schedule in there. I'm hoping that all of you, have you seen this pamphlet?
Yes,
Thus far?
yeah.
Okay. I have copies on the table if anybody would like some to.
It came in the mail a couple of days ago.
Okay, great, because I was just on vacation. I'm just returning today. So basically, it's a light pamphlet. It has all the rules and regulations for the recycling currently in the township. The big thing that we're really focusing on this past several months is that there's no plastic bags permitted in your recycling or your garbage. They want you to take the plastic bags and drop them off at the specified locations. For example, McCaffrey's, ShopRite, I believe some Walmarts have it, Wegmans, in front of the stores. You can please dispose of all your plastic bags in those containers, because what's happening is, another reason why the costs are getting so high is these plastic bags are getting stuck in the machinery in the factories, and it's a big problem, and it creates a much unnecessary added cost to fix all the machinery. So I've also created a lot of marketing materials for West Windsor. I've been giving out, as new residents move in or any of the residents come to Public Works and they request recycling containers, I hand them a reusable West Windsor Township recycled shopping bag, and I encourage them and go over with them again some of the rules as they come in. I provide them with some paperwork. We at Public Works, as part of a collection, we do 2 what we call dumpster drop-off days per year. Our 2018 dates for these dumpster drop-off days are Saturday, May 18th of 2019 and September 21st, which is also a Saturday of 2019. And basically that day, we try to collect everything. We have a shredding truck, we have a rescue mission or Salvation Army truck, we accept metals and refrigerants. We encourage residents to kind of do a clean out twice a year. And this way, typically, you're not able to bring garbage to our site, but on that day, we will accept anything except for hazardous materials and paints and radioactive materials, explosives, etc. Public Works also accepts, some materials that people may not be aware of. We do have this information on the website as well, but I'd like to just go over it briefly tonight. We take scrap metal, we take concrete, we take asphalt, we take tires or tires on rims, we take automobile batteries, propane tanks, and as I said, refrigerants, which is examples are freezers, refrigerators, dehumidifiers, water coolers. We will do for the refrigerants a curbside pickup. You just need to call our office prior to Thursday, prior to 3 p.m., and we can schedule a curbside pickup of refrigerants if that's more convenient for the residents. Solterra is our recycling company that we currently have, and they did let us know that if people don't stop putting the plastic bags in the recycling, they may stop collecting. We may have to mark up those residents' bins and kind of warn them that we're not going to be able to take it anymore. Is my mic okay? Sorry. I also wanted to let you know that the county, in addition to our 2 dumpster days, the county also runs some events where you can drop off special items. They don't have a calendar as of yet for 2019, but once we have it, I will update it onto our website in West Windsor. There is one final event that the county is running, just so our residents know. They're having a document shredding event, and that'll be on Saturday, November 3rd, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that is run through Mercer County Improvement Authority, and that'll be located at Lot 4, South Broad Street in Trenton, which is across from the Mercer County Administration Building. Going back to Public Works, we also offer free mulch on a first-come, first-served basis for our residents, so we just want to let you know that as well. I do have all these pamphlets out on the table if anybody's interested in taking any of them. I have attended the West Windsor Farmers Market to try to spread the word. I have, as Marlena said, worked closely with the schools because since I've been educated about it, I feel like the children are sponges of our future. They take what's told literally. They've only known recycling, whereas people my generation and earlier, we lived with it, we lived without it. So I do feel that the children really have a passion for it. The teachers really do support it. The schools are really excited to have us come in and do it. I've had 2 different assemblies brought in to educate the children in a very fun, different manner than, I'm not an educator, so they do it differently than I do. But I also worked last year, I worked very closely with the Grover Middle School, and I actually, I'm able to give the children grants, give the school grants. So they had a cleanup day where I went there and I educated them about recycling. The Friday prior, I brought in an assembly to educate them and got them all into it, and then had a little powwow in the cafeteria before we went outside and did a cleanup. The kids learned what is recyclable, what's not recyclable. It was a really fun event, and they really felt empowered, and actually Grover really wants to work together again in the future. I helped them, provided them with posters to put up to show the kids what is recyclable and what's not. Visuals usually are the best for children, and the teachers really enjoyed it as well, so it was a lot of fun. I worked with Maurice Hawk last year. I'm trying to target a school year. Currently, this year, I'm working with, I don't remember if she's high school north or south, Aquila. She's a student, a senior in high school. She is fabulous. We're trying to create a green, she's on the green team. I think she heads the green team over at the high school, and we're going to create an environmental day. And we're going to collaborate together and work on that. And actually, Mayor, we wanted to ask you if you'd like to judge a contest.
I don't like to judge anybody. That's asking for trouble.
It's in good fun, but...
I'll be happy to.
Thank you. So I'll get back to you with the details. And then one last, actually, I have 2 last things. I just wanted to let people know also, people who are very passionate about recycling, you can grass cycle. It's a great way to help the environment and save money on fertilizer. And there's a little pamphlet here about why your neighbor's grass is greener. Grass cycling, basically, instead of bagging the grass and having it taken away by the garbage company, you can fertilize it on your lawn, and it's a great way to be green. And then my final poster that I created for whenever I go to these events is how long does it take to decompose, and it really shows you how long stuff stays in the landfill. So for example, the first item is cotton. Thank you, Marlena, for holding that up. So cotton, can I ask you a few questions? Would that be okay? Okay, so cotton, how long does it take to decompose in a landfill? Is it A, 3 years, B, 1 to 5 months, or C, 6 years? Anybody want to take a guess, or I can just...
3 years.
1 to 5 months.
Oh. I'm surprised.
Would you like me to move the trifold? Okay, so cotton, it actually takes 1 to 5 months in the landfill to decompose. So it just puts it in perspective how long everything takes. So anything we can do to keep it out of the landfill, if we can do our part, it's excellent for our environment and for the future generation. The next example is a baby diaper. Perfect, thank you. It's A, 6 months to decompose, B, 25 years, or C, 550 years. Any guesses?
550.
25.
Okay. You said 25? Actually, it's C, 550 years. And we think about how many diapers our children use, it's really crazy, so. I don't know that many people have time today to go back to the cloth diapers, but it really puts it in perspective, 550 years. Okay, the next item is a plastic bag. So we have A, 20 to 1,000 years, B, 10 months, or C, 50 years.
A.
Yes, you're correct. And that's why we're really focusing on the plastic bags, because like I said, they get stuck in the machinery. That's a huge one. Nylon fabric, such as a knee-high, A is 5 years, B is 12 years, C is 30 to 40 years.
30 to 40?
Correct. You guys are good.
30 to 40?
30 to 40 years. Yes. Exactly. Now, and you know what? Life has gotten more casual, so I think we do save more. Glass bottles is A, 20 years, B, 1,000,000 years, or C, 4 months.
Let's be million years.
Exactly, 1,000,000 years for a glass bottle. And a lot of the manufacturers have done away with that. Obviously, beer, there's still a lot in glass bottles, but like, you know, all the Snapple bottles and everything, it's come a long way. But then the alternative is typically plastic, so we still have to work on an alternative for that. The next question is a drink packet. Is it A, 1 year, B, 5 years, or C, 20 years? 20. It's B, 5 years.
5 years?
So that's just that little drink packet. Paper towels is next. A is 2 to 4 weeks, B is 3 months, C is 10 years.
A.
Actually, I'm sorry, it's 2 to 4 weeks, you're correct. Whoever guessed that, I didn't see. Okay, and the following item is foam cup. A, 2 weeks, B, 9 years, C, 50 years.
50.
50.
Correct. So
What about a plastic bottle?
a plastic bottle?
Yeah, like a plastic water bottle or a plastic jug.
I don't have that answer on me, but it doesn't go to the landfill, it goes to the recycling and it gets broken down and it's reused. So that's why we're encouraging everybody to.
Why don't they recycle the glass bottles? They used to do that.
When we spoke with the recycler,
There's,
you have the mic, so.
yeah, there's very little value in glass right now. It's like pretty much worthless. They're trying to open a big facility in New Jersey. It's in the works, I believe, but I don't know if it's been officially approved, but glass is really invaluable right now.
No, a big piece of property where we could put that over by the mall. Put it behind all the trees, you wouldn't even see it.
It's very costly for them to recycle glass, believe it or not, and there's no market for it. And if the recycler could, he wouldn't pick up the glass, but it's mandated by the state of New Jersey.
And rules and regs are constantly changing and value changes as time progresses, so this is as of right now. I mean, you know, glass, maybe one day the market will turn around.
Yeah, I thought it was easy to melt that stuff down and reuse it.
There's no market for it right now.
Easier than plastic.
I know.
It's
What about
probably required because there used to be a market for it.
Right, and as I said, it's constantly changing. It's gray. There isn't a black and white area. As of right now, there is no or little market value for it.
What about the pizza boxes?
The pizza
That's
boxes,
grease you can't recycle?
right, risk is considered contamination. They don't want it.
But I bet it breaks down quickly in the landfill, though.
Well, it's
I don't wanna
cardboard.
take it, though.
Yeah.
Cereal boxes are great. They want all of the cardboards broken down, flattened out. As you all know, I'm assuming you all live in West Windsor, it's single stream, so you can put everything into the one bucket, which we're really trying to make residents aware of, because a lot of residents still believe there's a green and a yellow bucket, but it really is that one yellow bucket.
Look, as long as what they put in is the right stuff, so what if they separate it?
I mean, but then they get offended because they take the time and effort to put it in a separate bin, and then they watch the company come and they throw it all in one truck, so we're just trying to save them time and frustration.
Marlene,
There are certain types of plastics that the recyclers will accept. Which are they? I've become more conscious of looking at the bottom, or looking for the type of plastic that is recyclable. And I am guilty of this. I also have recycled lids or caps to those bottles, which I understand is also problematic.
As of right now in West Windsor, I was told that we can recycle the bottles and the caps. We only accept, because of our Solterra, who's our hauler, we only accept plastics numbers 1 and 2. So if you're not familiar with it, you can always flip the lid over, and plastics 1 is called PET, and basically it's your water bottles, it's your soda bottles, it's your cooking oil bottles. That's number 1. Number 2 is HDPE, and examples of that are the thicker plastics, for example, the laundry and dish detergent bottles, the milk gallons, the shampoos and conditioners. So as of right now with this hauler, they're only accepting number 1s and 2s in West Windsor. Great question, thank you.
That's pretty much throughout the state. I know where I live, in Union County, that's all they're accepting in terms of 1 and 2.
Okay, I know like throughout, I meet all different coordinators throughout the state, and it seems to vary based on where you live. Where I live is 1s and 2s as well in Monmouth County, but it does seem to vary, so.
What are the types that are not accepted?
3 through 7. Example, I didn't.
The food container you get takeout from restaurant is 5.
Mayonnaise, because it's the oil contaminated, the yogurt containers. Mayonnaise, yogurt containers, takeout containers.
Yeah, takeout container is 5, I know that.
Yeah.
Because I have thrown out many of them.
And no, what we would used to call tin cans, none of those aluminum things that your takeout comes with the paper tops. They don't take that.
No, they don't take that. You can still recycle the metal cans, like the cranberry sauce cans and the veggies and stuff like that, but not the tin disposable, because it's contaminated. That metal's typically dirty. You're using it for greasy purposes, per se. And I did, in this brochure that you all got, this, I do suggest, and the reason why we had it done on thinner paper, so the residents can actually tack it, put the magnet on the refrigerator, and it's just an easy go-to. So I hope that residents, I encourage them to do that.
A question about plastic bag. I thought the garbage bags are plastic, black or white bags.
You're correct. You can use that liner, but they don't want your shopping bags, your ShopRite, your Walmart, your Wegmans. Those are the plastic bags that I'm referring to. You know, those, at the mall, the bags that this is a Justice bag, that's a big popular children's store. You can line your garbage can with absolutely, not to confuse things.
The different material? The garbage bags is different from the plastic bag from the shopping?
Well, the reason why they accept the garbage bags is because otherwise your cans would be horrendous, and, you know, the amount, you're using 1 or 2 big bags based on your can, but the amount of those bags is incredible. You can still use your liner for your garbage as of this time.
Because I know some people use the shopping bag for garbage purposes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you look at it. You are recycling if you're reusing the bag. A lot of people especially use it in their smaller cans in the bathrooms and et cetera. We're just trying to reduce. I don't believe there is a way to completely do away with as of right now, but it's just being aware of when you're going food shopping, bringing that recyclable bag that we're handing out, and just being aware.
Gotcha.
Nobody, I don't believe anyone can be perfect, but we can all make an effort.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Lori.
I hope that this part of this meeting gets rebroadcast, because I think that was very valuable.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And I really like the pamphlet, which I got in the mail. I thought that was very well done.
Thank you so much. I'm creating it.
Good. So do we have any other public comment? Please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
Sure. Benjamin Steinhauser, 42 Coverly Road, West Windsor. Good evening. I thought I changed it up this year a little bit. I'm more like representing the volunteer fire company, West Windsor Volunteer Fire Company tonight, and myself, of course. So first off, I just want to say congratulations, Councilmember Dr. Zhang YZ. Good to see you up there. And then I'll get to business. So this year, we're having, once again, our Breakfast with Santa fundraiser, and I usually just bombard Gay with emails. I figured I'd come in person this year and invite you all personally to our event, and also thank you for your continued support to actually both volunteer fire companies in town. We obviously need as much help as we can get in recruiting and financially from the township, and we're very grateful for the support that we receive. Our breakfast is December 9th, so I hope to see you all there, and you bring your appetites. It's going to be very delicious, and of course, the crowd is welcome as well. Please come, enjoy the breakfast. Sponsored by, PJ's Pancake House and Grover's Mill Coffee House, and also we'll have a professional photographer for free taking professional photos with one of our awesome Santas, firefighter Santas, up there. And then I guess also another reminder that, of course, we'll be running Santa on our fire trucks later in the month. I believe it's the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe 14th, 15th, and 16th.
It is.
It is. And I'm not sure actually when the Princeton Junction Volunteer Fire Company is doing theirs yet. I tried to find it today, couldn't find it, but I'm sure they'll be running Santa as well. So I'll just hand these out to you guys real quick, and then I'll be on my way. And thank you again for your support.
Thank you. And that breakfast, the time starts when, ends
It's
when?
8:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Long day.
Breakfast.
I know.
Breakfast and brunch with Santa.
And Ben, in the interest of making sure that your wife doesn't kill you, the Junior League is doing the toy drive.
I'm going to get back on mic for that,
Yep.
Mr. Mayor.
Ben, we're also voting on the brush fire truck tonight. A brush fire truck, we're voting on it tonight. Contract. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I know all about it.
And the last comment, sorry, yes, my wife will kill me. We are also partnering with the, the JLGP Junior League of Greater Princeton for a toy drive benefiting Homefront and, of course, children. So that's going to be a really great time, to collect toys. Toys can be dropped off as of Thanksgiving, so now, anytime at our station, unwrapped, all the way through, I believe, December 16th. And then we're going to pack them up on one of our engines, probably engine 43, and drive it down to Homefront and distribute them. All right, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, administration comments?
Did you have public comment, or did I
Yeah,
miss?
that was the
Oh,
public.
that was it, okay. The only comment that I have, or announcement that I have this evening is actually, I have two announcements. Public Works is finishing up in Zone 3 and hopes to be done by Wednesday, and will immediately move into Zone 4. They are behind because of the rainfall, the heavy rains that we've been having. They've lost days in terms of being out and collecting leaves. With that said, I am going to ask our residents to please keep leaves from the grates of the sewers, and believe it or not, try and move them away from the sewers. They shouldn't really be in the street in the first place because of the yard waste collection schedule we have. But the water, with the rainfalls that we've been having, they've been heavy, and the force of the water is pushing the leaves down to the nearest storm drain and is clogging the drain, therefore making it very difficult for the streets to drain properly. So if you could get out in advance and take the leaves that are covering the grate, that would be really appreciated. As I indicated a couple of weeks ago, DEP wants the grates with smaller openings so that leaf debris and other debris doesn't go down into the stormwater sewers. So, as I said, hopefully, I know we had rain today again, but Public Works is hoping to move from Zone 3 into Zone 4 by Wednesday. And Christmas tree lighting will be held on December 2nd. which is a Sunday evening at 7 p.m. There is a rain date of December 9th at 7 p.m. The event will be held across from High School South on the property where Ron Rogers Arboretum is. Those are the only announcements.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, thanks. We just had a meeting last week. Thankfully, not too much happens in West Windsor in 1 week, so thank you. I just wanted to thank Laurie, she left, but I was struck considering that a diaper takes 550 years to disintegrate. Every diaper ever made is still around somewhere. So,
As far as we know.
that's the way to
That's
think
life.
about it. It's around somewhere. Just a brief announcement. The email is still down. It's expected to come up completely by tomorrow morning. Anything you send to the township from last Wednesday to today is available online, but anything before next Wednesday, last Wednesday, will be available first thing in the morning. So if you have sent any email, haven't received any response, have a little patience, you will get it. We will get to it. No email will be lost. We are going to a web-based system, and it will make it a lot easier for even the council members. You can access it from anywhere. And since the last meeting, I have authorized hiring of 3 Class 3 officers. Again, because email is down, I can't email you anything, but before end of the week, before the week is over. 2 of them will work in high school, 1 of them will work in Dutch Neck. They are still not in school, expected to go to school in probably another week or so. And although there are a few other people in the pipeline, we don't expect to hire any new officers rest of this year through December. So that's my update.
Thank you. Council member comments. Linda?
I just want to thank all the volunteers and professionals at Woman's Space, and thank Gay, too. I know you've been a volunteer there for many, many years, so we thank you. Thank Lieutenant Lee and Chief Garofalo for our police department's help with that organization. I was on Landwin Boulevard, this afternoon, and it was just torrential rain, and there was 2 areas where it was beginning to flood, but one worse than the other. You almost needed an SUV to get through, so that is so important, as you say, to get the leaves off, because otherwise the roads, they just flood so quickly. It's like torrential rains this afternoon.
Yeah, it contributes to localized flooding.
Yeah.
It really does.
Right. And I just want to wish everyone happy Hanukkah. Thanks.
Virginia?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that at the tree lighting on Sunday, we will be having the drawing for the 50/50 raffle that the Lions Club has been sponsoring to support the West Windsor Police Department in honor of their 50th anniversary. So if you want to get a 50/50 raffle ticket, they're still available. The drawing will be at 7 o'clock at the tree lighting on Sunday. Thanks.
Thank you. YZ?
Thank you. Listen, I guess last week is the Thanksgiving week, so family gathering. Nothing official to report, but I want to share maybe 2 things. One is that my 3 boys came back from college. 3 boys in college at the same time. You go figure out how could I do that. But $100 a month will help a little bit. I talked to them and talked to some of their peers. I have one question for them, almost like a polling to say, consider yourself after graduation, would you like to come back to West Windsor to live here, or Plansbar? They're coming from the WWP school district. And many of them actually expressed interest. Obviously, they're still in college, maybe too early to make the decision, but I think the willingness is a good thing. We need to think about how can we accommodate the young workforce coming back to hometown, and so the older generation can stay here and have them coming back as well. So that's one thing. The other thing is a friend of mine, when we were talking about co-workspaces, one of my friends expressed great interest of maybe purchasing some facility here and turning into a co-working space for offices, and especially for technology companies. So obviously that's site work. Has nothing to do with, at this point, it's a private citizen's willingness, but I thought it's a good thing. that means that some people get the message and are willing to work towards that direction. So I'm very happy to hear that. Now, thirdly, there's one resident living on Pine Line Road telling me there has been flooding in one section of the Pine Line Road, and where there was a little pond.
That issue was supposedly rectified by Mercer County.
Okay.
It involved, there was actually a part of a tree trunk clogging one of the pipes.
Gotcha.
So Mercer County was called out, and they did remove the obstacle
Thank you so
from
much.
that. Hopefully, that will take care of the problem.
Gotcha. Yeah, because they told me even the last rain or something, it was flooded
Yeah,
again.
the
Okay.
past couple of rains, we've...
Right. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Aisha?
Thank you. I apologize for missing last week's meeting, which meant I didn't get to congratulate you, YZ. Welcome to council. And, you know, those were some good questions and good insights, so I look forward to more. Just as a quick shout out, Lori mentioned a young high school student, Akila. This young woman is fantastic. She goes to High School North, but starting back in 6th grade while she was at Grover was an integral part of starting the recycling program there, doing a 1-week farm-to-table program along with Sodexo, the food management service. These are the types of kids that West Windsor is turning out, and it's really pretty impressive. She's quite a unique young woman, but I was happy to hear Lori mention her. That's all.
Thank you. I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah. It will start next Sunday, and it will end just in time for our next council meeting, so that's why I'm saying it now. Everybody enjoy the Festival of Lights. Gay, do you have anything?
I do. I have one additional announcement. The Historic Society of West Windsor's annual holiday tour is this Saturday and Sunday, December 1st and 2nd, from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Skank Farmstead. Hope to see everybody there.
Thank you. And Mike, do you have any updates for
Madam
us?
Council President, pursuant to your request, I just wanted to again announce that there is a fairness hearing before Judge Jacobson at the Superior Court in Trenton. It's the new court building tomorrow and Wednesday, November 27th and 28th. It's a fairness hearing with regard to the settlement with Fair Share Housing. The hearing begins at 9:30 a.m. and would most likely last till 4. Under the most recent order of the court, if the matter does end on tomorrow, if it is completed tomorrow, there will not be a hearing on Wednesday, the 28th.
And if I could ask the mayor and administrator, as soon as we have any kind of update, can council find out what happened?
Yeah, but it's unlikely to end tomorrow. There are way too many people giving testimony and this thing, so I'll be shocked if it will end tomorrow. We don't know if the judge is going to give judgment on Wednesday, but I will update the council at the end of Wednesday as to what went on and what the thing is. So by then the email should be up.
That would be very good, and
Yeah.
perhaps you and our affordable housing attorney, Jerry Muller, can put together a schedule of what comes next, because depending on what happens at that hearing, we will move forward or not on our
Sure.
promised ordinances.
Madam President, what occurs is if the judge rules in our favor and grants judgment of fairness, finds that the settlement agreement entered into by Fair Share Housing in the township is adequate and correct, she will then schedule a final hearing, what is called a compliance hearing, probably sometime, I would say, January, February. At that time, the township will come back and show how it has complied with the settlement agreement, which is, the passing of various, ordinances and so forth. So those would be the steps. So if if there is a finding of fairness by the judge, we would then proceed with the various ordinances that are in the settlement agreement. Once they are passed, it would be a final fairness hearing, or compliance hearing. At the compliance hearing, if there's a judgment of compliance, then the township is, I'm sure there'll be conditions in the compliance, but the township's pretty much set.
Okay.
So once the judge renders a decision either Wednesday or whenever, then we have 90 days to finish that
Correct.
and go to the compliance hearing. So the clock starts after the judge gives the judgment, either Wednesday, Friday, or whenever she wants to give the judgment.
And it may be March or April that she schedules the final hearing, but yeah.
But the fact is that we will get an update from you or
On
Jerry.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, whatever she does, just so that we're not in suspense, because I talked to several of us, and we are not able to go down to Trenton, not all of
Yeah, I
us,
mean,
to attend. And so, when she does say this is a good settlement, we then have 90 days to pass those ordinances that are attached to the settlement,
Right.
which means we will start that process soon.
And the hearing itself, it's sort of like a planning board hearing almost. When you go down there, the township will present its witnesses as to how the settlement agreement works. You'll have presentations of the affordable housing site map. They'll go through all the standards. It's planning testimony. If anyone is objecting, they can present their own plans to say why it doesn't work. And then, much like a planning board, the judge will make a call. And if the judge makes a finding that the settlement agreement is correct and fair, then you can proceed.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I know at least one of the builders included in the settlement has his own experts coming and testifying, so it's unlikely to be finished tomorrow. I mean, I'll be happy if it finishes on Wednesday.
Well, me too, but I just know that I have personal things that would make it impossible for me to go down, and I know that other council members do too, so.
I mean, I may go both days, one day, but I'm going to try and attend.
Anyway, any personal updates you can give us even after tomorrow, just to tell us what happened, I know we would be happy to hear that.
It's not as exciting as O.J. Simpson hearing, I can tell you that.
It is not.
Well, unless you're a planning fan, in which case it's very exciting.
It's,
Only planners will get excited, and rest of them will just roll their eyes.
there's paint drying on the wall, and then there's this.
Marlena, I do know that the West Windsor administration has a day when everybody comes in from each department to present their budget, and council is invited, though council does not participate. And that is this week?
It is, it's Wednesday, November 28th, and we begin at 10 a.m. And it will be held in Room C. It's a review of the operating budgets.
And how long do you expect that to take?
It shouldn't, I'd say under 2 hours, approximately.
Well, I have a doctor's appointment I cannot change at 10:45, so I will probably show up in time for you to say thank you to everybody.
Would you like me to call you if we're done, so you don't?
No, it's easy enough. This is practically on my way home.
Okay.
It's easy enough for me to stop by. Thank you. And I know that other members of council will be there if they can. It's a little more convenient than Trenton. Okay, so we are now up to the consent agenda.
Okay, 2018 R-265, granting release of cash performance bond for street opening permit number 2018-21 for 2 Beardsley Court. 2018 R-266, granting the release of cash performance bond for street opening permit number 2006-31 for Roselle Road, and bills and claims.
Anybody want to pull anything? Seeing none, do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote?
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Mazzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay, we have recommendations from administration and council clerk.
2018-R-267, authorizing the budget transfer to provide for the transfer of funds within the 2018 municipal budget. 2018-R-268, granting requests by Seisner Properties for release of cash maintenance guarantee for public site improvements for the project known as Windsor Plaza Revitalization, Mercer County Route 571 Improvements, PB 10-7. 2018-R-269, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a contract with Lee's Equipment for the project known as Manufacture of a Brush Fire Truck for West Windsor Township for $85,828. 2018-R-270, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a shared service agreement with Hightstown Borough for the provision of public health services and receipt of public health nursing services. 2018-R-271, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a shared service agreement with Robbinsville Township for the provision of public health services.
Okay, anybody want to pull anything from this?
I have a couple of questions on R-267.
Okay. Why don't you ask them now?
Marlena, and this is more out of a curiosity, did we do something on last year's budgeting process that we should be accounting for in this year's budgeting process with respect to the fire hydrant issue and with respect to the opt-out of the health insurance?
Opt-out of health insurance is not an issue. It's a contractual matter, and we had more employees participate in that benefit than expected, and there is adequate funds within that line item. We just have to shift funds from the salary and wage portion down to other expenses.
And there's probably no way to predict that ahead of time.
There really isn't, because we have some hires that come on board mid-year and opt out, and they don't get the full year. It's prorated, but it's very fluid, let's put it that way. The benefit to that, of course, is the outlay or the avoided expense and savings associated with the health insurance premium.
So explain the fire hydrant one. That's a new issue. I haven't come across that one before. So tell me what that was.
My understanding is several years ago, council was warned by the administration to leave the funding as was, and council opted not to do that. Council cut it, and what we're seeing is the fact that the BPU, and throughout the year, the BPU does send out notices. They increased their hydrant expenses they had several tariff increases that were approved by the BPU. There's no way to know when the water company is going to go before the BPU for a rate adjustment, but when they go before the BPU, more often than not, they're usually granted their request for a rate adjustment.
So as we plan for this budget coming up, right, how do we have the ability to now expand our budget to address the BPU increases for the fire hydrant? Or are we limited by the 2% cap?
We are limited by the the appropriations cap for 2019, I believe, is 2.5% increase. We have to look at the overall budget, because in the end, most of the 2.5% appropriation cap increase applies to most line items. There are very few exceptions. For instance, debt service is excluded from the cap. Some affordable housing expenses are outside of the cap. Shared services agreements are outside of the cap. So the state over the years the state has had the appropriation caps anywhere from 0 to 2.5, 3%. And I know there is a desire to try and anticipate expenditures as closely as possible based upon previous year's expenditures. And it's rolling dice. Sometimes we're spot on, and sometimes we're not.
Well, this is a bit of a cautionary tale. I mean, this is what my concern is sometimes when we go through the budgeting process and we skim a little bit too close to the line.
And that's exactly what happened. And, I've cautioned council in the past about the temptation to skim from or cut, take a shave off of the gasoline budget. Gasoline is another thing that went sky high this summer, seems to have stabilized and is even coming down right now. But some of the utilities and commodity-driven or commodities that we rely on that are essential for public service purposes are the ones that we do our best to protect what we have. The other thing is with fire hydrants and new development, fire hydrants have to be installed in order for our fire companies to attack those fires. So there's a cost too when fire hydrants get added. We've had enough, I don't believe this expenditure for fire hydrants this year includes the new fire hydrants that have come online, but we will see an increase in our hydrant expenses going forward with development.
So just to, because I don't remember, which department's budget is impacted by the fire hydrant expense?
That is a separate line item unto itself, I believe. And I know there are other expenses. There's like a utility section within the budget where you will see electricity, gas, water, and the like. I think fire hydrants, because in essence what we're paying for is a rental charge.
Right.
We're paying to rent the fire hydrant.
So have you, sort of based on this BPU increase, reflected that for the 2019 budget? Is that something we'll see?
In all likelihood, yes. And of course, we'll do our best to shift funds around based upon patterns that Joanne and I see. But it's a little too early at this point to come up with a final number that the administration wants to present to the mayor and then to the council ultimately.
That's fair. Thank you.
Yeah, it was probably before your time, Marlena, but the fire hydrant budget at some point was very, very high, to the point that Mr. Church went around, whether he walked, on a bike, on a car, trying to figure out how many fire hydrants there were in West Windsor. I think you came within one or two, the actual number, because, so, anyway, that's a little bit of history, that the budget was very, very high, and council brought it down.
I will tell you, though, there's been a tendency at times, year after year, to target certain accounts, one of them being fire hydrants, and granted, I think in the last year it was left alone, but gasoline has also been another account that has been taken away from. So that's been my experience.
Right, right. Well, I think if you just give us, if we have the actual bills, how much we actually spent, I think that was helpful, because that was an issue, trying to get the actual amount of money that the township was being billed for the fire hydrants versus the high amount that we were budgeting. So I think we're probably closing in on more
I
reasonable
would
numbers.
probably say we need to think very carefully as a group before we start taking scissors and snipping away at the utility budgets. Because it's very volatile right now.
Right.
Yes, and we have always had an administration. I have worked with more administrations, I think, even than Linda has, certainly more
Yeah.
mayors. And everybody tries to cut. So it isn't as if the administration is sticking in extra fat for us to find. So anyway, yes, you have a question,
Yeah,
YC.
I have a question to R269. So this is more of a history lesson for me. Thank you for the sharing of hydrant. That is a lesson too. But on this particular R269, I guess my question is, maybe give me a background a little bit, like history and what is this all about, and whether this is one-time deal or this is annual?
It's not an annual expense, it's a capital expense, so the useful life is 5 years or more. I can provide you with a copy of the actual write-up that was in the capital budget last year. I will tell you that, actually, this item was, we funded this item in 2017 as part of the 2017 capital budget. It was a request that came forward to the administration, mayor and council via the fire companies with the endorsement of the Fire and Emergency Services Manager, Jim Yates. The age of the brush truck that we currently have it's beyond probably repair. 20-plus years. It's very important equipment in order to get to brush fires that are off-road and would not necessarily, the conditions or the terrain is such that it's not conducive for fire trucks to get in and attack the fire. Because they want to try and contain the fire, that's what that vehicle is used for, and then if need be, I guess hoses can be run to assist in putting out those types of fires. And we've had those types of fires under very dry, windy conditions, usually in the spring, when there's a very low humidity. I will tell you, the beauty about this truck is we bought it in two parts. We bought one part earlier in the year. We bought the actual, I guess, cab or front of it, and I believe tonight we're awarding the chassis. It has to be assembled. It's about a 90-day assembly period before it can actually be put in service, but it was something that was brought to the attention of the public safety liaison who advocated, and rightfully so, for this piece of equipment. So hopefully we'll get at least 20 years out of it, if not more, and if one part wears out before the other, we can extend the useful life of that part. So,
Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anybody else have any other questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion for?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Can you do the budget resolution separately because of the
Yes.
supermajority required?
Yes.
Thank you.
And again,
So-
if you could just announce the.
Yep, we're going to do 2018 R267, authorizing the budget transfer to provide for the transfer of funds within the 2018 municipal budget.
Requires 4 votes.
Yeah, it requires two-thirds and two-thirds of 5, since we round to the nearest whole council person is 4.
I move
So-
to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote, this is moved to approve R267.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Mazzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Motion for 268, 970, and 71.
So moved. Second.
Jeevers?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Mazzara?
Yes.
Zhang?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes. Okay, we have no introduction of ordinances, additional public comment? Mr. Church.
Yeah, John Church, 11 Princeton Place. I think you all know what I'm going to talk about. I think this was before Ms. Schmidt was here, but some years ago, I was getting concerned about the fire hydrant budget being way too large, and it was. I think if I don't have my iPad with me, I can't refer to the figures, but some years ago, we were budgeting, I believe, $890,000 a year for fire hydrant services, when the actual expenses, as I showed by pulling the bills and examining them, were something like $150,000 less than that. So this was a large over-budgeting. Now, in some cases, might be justified to put higher numbers in the budget than you think might be needed, because later on, situations come up like you had tonight, where you need to transfer funds from one budget line item to another one. And so it's not entirely unreasonable to over-budget certain line items. Now, as far as the fire hydrants go, I'd be interested in knowing how many new ones might be coming online. I can pull up all my old numbers whenever needed to do that. So we want to make sure we have enough money, but we don't want to make it absurdly large like we were doing some years ago. It really was way out of line. So we don't want to do that, but we still want to keep it within reason. So I'd like to keep on top of this, because I do have a complete record of the fire hydrants and what we were charged several years ago. So I was going to look at this online, but because the township's server was down, I wasn't able to preview that R267 tonight. So I don't know if it specifically involved the fire hydrants. If it did, that's fine, but and then I might have been, if the server had been up, I might have been able to talk more about that. Anyway, I do have a lot of old figures on this. We want to keep it adequate, but we don't want to make it like it was many years ago, when we were terrifically over budgeting that one line item. So let's keep it safe, but let's not overdo it. So that's all I have for now, but I would like to keep on top of this for the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. O'Brien.
Not to be outdone, John. Gene O'Brien, 13 Green Drive. As chairman of the planning board, I want to point out that on Wednesday, we are scheduled to have a public hearing with regard to the first element of our new master plan that the planning board hopes to approve, and that is the open space and recreation plan. So for anyone who is interested in these topics, I would encourage you to be at our meeting, which is scheduled to start at 7 p.m. this Wednesday, the 28th. With regard to the BPU, Board of Public Utilities, it would seem to me that as a public organization, they should have a process similar to what we have here in West Windsor, whereby one can provide requests for notification of hearings and things of that nature, and we ought to be able to get information to help us be aware of what may be coming down the pike, especially in terms of rate increases. Just a thought.
A good thought.
Yeah, and just a note, there's a zoning board meeting on Thursday, right? Yeah, although it's not on the website because of the website problem, zoning board meeting will be held on
Theoretically scheduled,
Thursday.
and we are being prepared for that. However,
Yes,
it
yes.
still depends upon a few things,
Yes,
such
yes.
as the property owner getting his.
Yeah.
So as of now, it's still on the
It
schedule.
will be held on Thursday, yeah.
Okay, council reports. Virginia.
I have none.
Linda.
No, our planning board chair already gave it, but the ordinances, the RP-1 ordinances that the council sent to the planning board are going to be reviewed Wednesday, too.
Good. Aisha?
Nothing.
YZ?
Nothing to report, thank you.
I would just like to point out, I have nothing under council reports, but under discussion, we have been following the state's marijuana legalization process, and I noticed some articles in the Times of Trenton that say this is imminent, it's going to happen, and there are a number of issues that have not been resolved yet, and we're staying on top of it. When we have something concrete to discuss, and we're not going to say, well, if they decide this, then we'll that. If they decide that, we'll this. We will have a discussion about legalization.
Did they, I know, because
And
they were
the
supposed to have a
effect-
hearing.
Yes,
today.
they're
I don't know
supposed to
if
have
they-
the...
I don't know what the outcome
No,
was.
I mean, they passed it out of the committee, so it will get a full house, a full vote in the House and the Senate, and the governor will sign it. They need the money. It's a 6% and 2% for the town. They need the money, it's going to happen.
2% is nothing.
Yes, well,
I mean,
Everyone was
I
screaming
just
about
hope
that
they
down at the
don't
League of
make
Municipalities, a
it
2%
opt out
that was
as
ridiculous.
opposed to opt in, but
Yeah.
I'm resigned to the fact that it will be opt out. If it is opt out, then council will have to have a discussion and pass an ordinance to opt out of whatever provisions they want to opt out. But I fully expect to have opt-out provision, not opt-in provision in that
Well,
bill.
Yeah, there is an opt-out they talked about, yeah.
Well, then we
Not an
would
opt-in.
have
You have to
to
speak
discuss
Yeah, I don't know how this is.
whether that would interest us or not.
Yeah.
But I do remember that at the League Legislative Committee, there was a great deal of discomfort with the 2% tax at the municipal level because it wouldn't cover our expenses to educate our police and to deal with the new issues that will come up with legal marijuana. On the other hand, if the tax is too high, then people will continue to obtain it illegally where it won't be taxed at all. So these are issues
And
we
there's
will
gonna-
have to deal with.
Yeah, there's going to be master plan issues also on this. That's going to cost money.
See, the other issue is if the
See it
state
already.
is going to share the 6% that they connect, because even if you don't have any growing or dispensing facility, we will increase cost. I mean, that's what the Colorado experience tells you, that you will incur cost.
Of course we will, because
I-
our police will have to deal with people who are legally consuming marijuana and
So
possessing it.
I just hope the state shares some of that 6% they are going to collect and not penalize the municipalities or townships that decide they don't want to have any facility in town. Because that's one of the things that was being talked about, that if you opt out, then you will be penalized and not given any state aid.
Well, that's true, but again, if you opt in, you get insufficient money, so it
that's a legal issue.
really is, there's just not a win-win situation. Anyway, administration updates.
I have none.
Okay, so as we have no closed session, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you.